The chase, Annie Dillard. Some boys taught me to play football. This was a fine sport. You thought up a new strategy for every play and whispered it to the others. You went out for a pass, fooling everyone. Best, you got to throw yourself mightily at someone else's running legs. Either you brought him down or you hit the ground flat on your chin with your arms empty before you. It was all or nothing. If you hesitated in fear, you would miss and get hurt. You would take a hard fall while the kid got away, or you would get kicked in the face while the kid got away. But if you flung yourself wholeheartedly at the back of his knees, if you gathered and joined a body and soul and pointed them diving fearlessly, then you likely wouldn't get hurt, and you'd stop the ball. Your fate and your team's score depended on your concentration and courage. Nothing girls did could compare with it. Boys welcomed me at baseball too, for I had, through enthusiastic practice, what was weirdly known as a boy's arm. In winter, in the snow, there was neither baseball nor football, so the boys and I threw snowballs at passing cars. I got in trouble throwing snowballs, and have seldom been happier since. On one weekday morning after Christmas, 6 inches of new snow had just fallen. We were standing up to our boot tops in snow on the front yard on trafficked Reynolds Street, waiting for cars. The cars traveled Reynolds Street slowly and evenly. They were targets all, but wrapped in red ribbons, cream puffs. We couldn't miss. I was 7. The boys were 8, 9, and 10. The oldest two Fahey boys were there, Mikey and Peter, polite blonde boys who lived near me on Lloyd Street, and who already had 4 brothers and sisters. My parents approved of Mikey and Peter Fahey. Chicky McBride was there, a tough kid, and Billy Paul and Mackie Keene too, from across Reynolds, where boys grew up dark and furious, grew up skinny, knowing, and skilled. We all had drifted from our houses that morning looking for action, and had found it on Reynolds Street. It was cloudy but cold. The car's tires laid behind them on the snowy street, a complex trail of beige chunks like crenulated castle walls. I had stepped on some earlier. They squeaked. We could have wished for more traffic. When a car came, we all popped in on it. In the intervals between cars, we reverted to our natural solitude of children. I started making an ice ball, a perfect ice ball, from perfectly white snow, perfectly spherical and squeezed perfectly translucent so no snow remained all the way through. The Fahey boys and I considered it unfair actually to throw an ice ball at somebody, but it had been known to happen. I had just embarked on the ice ball project when we heard tire chains come clanking from afar. A black Buick was moving towards us down the street. We all spread out, banged together some regular snowballs, took aim, and when the Buick drew nigh, fired. A soft snowball hit the driver's windshield right before the driver's face. It made a smashed star with a hump in the middle. Often, of course, we hit our target, but this time, the only time in all of our life, the car pulled over and stopped. Its wide black door opened. A man got out of it, running. He didn't even close the door. He ran after us, and we ran away from him. Up the snowy Reynolds sidewalk. At the corner, I looked back. Incredibly, he was still after us. He was in city clothes, a suit and tie, street shoes. Any normal adult would have quit, having spring us into flight and made his point. This man was gaining on us. He was a thin man, all action. All of a sudden, we were running for our lives. Wordless, we split up. We were on our turf. We could lose ourselves in the neighborhood backyards, everyone for himself. I paused and considered. Everyone had vanished except Mikey Fahey, who was just rounding the corner of a yellow brick house. Poor Mikey. I trailed him. The driver of the Buick sensibly picked the 2 of us to follow. The man apparently had all day. He chased Mikey and me around the yellow house and up a backyard path we knew by heart, under a low tree, up a bank, through a hedge, down some snowy steps, and across the grocery store delivery driveway. We smashed through a gap in another hedge, entered a scruffy backyard, and ran around its back porch and tight between houses to Edgerton Avenue. We ran across Edgerton to an alley and up our sliding wood pile to Hall's front yard. He kept coming. We ran up Lloyd Street and wound through mazy backyards toward the steep hilltop at Willard Lane. He chased us silently, block after block. He chased us silently over picket fences, through thorny hedges, between houses, around garbage cans, and across streets. Every time I glanced back, choking for breath, I expected he would have quit. He must have been as breathless as we were. His jacket strained over his body. It was an immense discovery, pounding into my hot head with every sliding, joyous step, that this ordinary adult evidently knew what I thought only children who trained at football know, that you have to fling yourself at what you're doing. You have to point yourself, forget yourself, aim, dive. Mikey and I had nowhere to go in our own neighborhood or out of it, but away from this man who was chasing us. He impelled us forward. We compelled him to follow our route. The air was cold. Every breath tore my throat. We kept running, block after block. We kept improvising, backyard after backyard, running a frantic course and choosing it simultaneously, failing always to find small places or hard places to slow him down, and discovering always, exhilarated, dismayed, that only bare speed can save us. For he would never give up, this man, and we were losing speed. He chased us through the backyard labyrinths of 10 blocks before he caught us by our jackets. He caught us, and we all stopped. We stood there staggering, half-blinded, coughing, in an obscure hilltop backyard. A man in his 20s, a boy, a girl. He had released our jackets, our pursuer, our captor, our hero. He knew we weren't going anywhere. We all played by the rules. Mikey and I unzipped our jackets. I pulled off my sopping mittens. Our tracks multiplied in the backyard's new snow. We had been breaking new snow all morning. We didn't look at each other. I was cherishing my excitement. The man's lower pant legs were wet. His cuffs were full of snow, and there was a prow of snow beneath them on his shoes and socks. Some trees bordered the little flat backyard, some messy winter trees. There was no one around, a clearing in a grove, and we the only players. It was a long time before I could speak. I had some difficulty at first recalling why we were there. My lips felt swollen. I couldn't see out of the sides of my eyes. I kept coughing. "You stupid kids," he began perfunctorily. We listened perfunctorily indeed, if we listened at all, for the chewing out wasn't redundant, a mere formality, and besides the point. The point was that he had chased us passionately without giving up, and so he had caught us. Now he came down to earth. I wanted the glory to last forever. But how could the glory lasted forever? We could have ran through every backyard in North America until we got to Panama. But when he trapped us at the lip of the Panama Canal, what precisely could he have done to prolong the drama of the chase and cap its glory? I brooded for this for the next few years. He could only have fried Mikey Fahey and me in boiling oil, say, or dismembered us piecemeal, or staked us to anthills. None of which I really wanted, and none of which any adult was likely to do, even in the spirit of fun. He could only chew us out there in the Panamanian jungle after months or years of exalted pursuit. He could only begin, "You stupid kids," and continue in his ordinary Pittsburgh accent with his normal righteous anger and usually calm sense. If that snowy backyard, the driver of that black Buick, had cut off our heads, Mikey's and mine, I would have died happy. For nothing has required so much of me since as being chased all over Pittsburgh in that middle of winter, running terrified, exhausted, by this sainted, skinny, furious, red-headed man who wished to have a word with us. I don't know how he found his way back to his car.